Let's get it started. So I'm going to turn on the video and the audio so we're all connected together. All right, hello. Hi. So thanks everybody for coming to another Coleman & Company webinar. Today we're going to be talking about the Brush and Bake Rhinestone Transfer System. And my name is Mark Vila, by the way, and I host a lot of these webinars here. Maybe you've seen me before in some other things, but thank you for coming again. Or if it's your first time, welcome. We appreciate your time. So we're going to make some garments similar to this here using a Graphtec cutting plotter machine, and we're going to take that and we're going to turn some flock material into some rhinestone transfers like this. And don't worry about seeing it up close now. We're going to bring the camera really close as we get into this stuff. But for now, I'm just giving you a little rundown of what we're going to do. So we're going to make some templates like this. We're going to put some rhinestones onto those templates, and then we're going to create a transfer. So we're going to create a transfer with transfer paper. We're going to get the rhinestones onto this transfer paper that we can then put onto a t-shirt, and we're also going to make a rhinestone decal and sticker as well. So we're going to make a couple different things today. On some of the other webinars, if you've been before, we go a little bit deeper into the software. Today I'm going to go a little bit lighter on the software, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper into making a couple different things for you. So we're just going to give a little bit of a different view based on requests that people have had. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to turn off the camera, and I'm going to turn on my computer screen. And when we get there, I'm going to show you a few things online. Then we're going to open up the software. I'll do a little bit of a software demonstration. And then right after that, we'll turn the camera back on and we'll get up close and personal with the Rhinestone template system so you can really see what's happening. By the way, a few latecomers have come in the past few minutes. You haven't missed anything terribly important yet. You just missed the introduction, so everything is fine. All right. So let's turn the camera off. So I should be gone at this point in time, and in just a moment, you're going to see my screen share come up. So right about now, you should be seeing that. One thing to mention before we get into everything is there is a question button that you can click on. If you click on that, you can type in whatever you'd like, whatever you'd want to ask. That comes directly to me, and I will answer every single question before the end of the webinar. So just fire them off whenever you think about them. You're not going to interrupt me. Every once in a while, I will stop and say, hey, I got some questions to answer, and we'll answer those. Otherwise, we'll save the rest towards the end. So please stick around so we can have that going on. Now, what we're looking at here is the Custom Apparel Startups Facebook page. Okay, if you're not a member of this group, I highly recommend it. This is folks just like you, getting started in the apparel decorating business, people who have been in it for a long time, people who have just gotten started or haven't quite gotten started yet, and they're getting into the research phase. So this is a great group to join. We've got almost 1,500 members, as you can see here. The list grows every single day, so you'll be a member of a great, nice community that's also put together to be just really positive reinforcement. So it's a lot of people asking, does anyone know where to get wholesale Nike soccer jerseys? And someone says, you can order them from Nike. Here's how you do it. People showing how to put bling on koozies, it looks like. So there's always people either sharing things, asking questions, or just having regular community involvement, like saying, hey, this is how I priced this job locally for a local baseball team. Would you guys have done it differently? And people come on here and talk about that stuff all the time. So please join it, and you'll hear a lot about us in the community, and we recommend it as one of our best resources. It is a closed group, so you're going to have to ask to join, and then you'll be approved. Let's get back to business. So everyone should be able to hear me and me only, no background conversation. All right, and let's get rid of this because I'm going to start all the way from what I started with. And let's cut that out. Okay, so this is what I started with. All right, from the very beginning, we just had just a maple leaf, just a fall leaf. This is just a JPEG image. This could be shared from anyone on the internet. that might have given it to you, whether this was just a fall festival shirt that we're making. So we could just say, a customer of yours might just say, hey, we just want a fall leaf on a shirt, say fall festival. It's for a local fall festival at our park. And we just want to make some t-shirts, whether they're giveaways or to sell for a fundraiser or whatever it might be. So that's what we're gonna make today. So we just took a regular JPEG fall leaf image, and we then converted that over to Hotfix. All right, so we started in the artwork phase, and we went into a little bit of conversion into that, which is just a few steps. But again, I said I'm going to try to go a little lighter on the software today so we can spend more time making some things. We got about 30 minutes or so left, and we're going to spend about maybe 5 or 10 on the software, and then we'll spend about 15 or 20 actually on the making some things. So the first step that I did in this is I'm going to convert this image that I've cleaned up a little bit and just made it ready to go. I'm going to convert this image into rhinestones. So we go into our Hotfix tab, as you can see up top here, and we can choose various ways to fill this in. We can fill it in with all different types of design and look for our Hotfix, for our rhinestones. What we're just doing today is just a uniform fill. What that means, it's going to try to make it just even throughout the whole thing, no particular lines or shapes or anything like that. Then I'm going to adjust the size of the rhinestones that I'm going to use. Now I've got a palette here on the side that this is a 10SS, which is actually the size that I've used, and that's why it defaulted there. So that's the first thing. As we get in here, you can see all the little rhinestones, all the little circles that we're going to cut out in our template. We can hit, if we go into the simulation view, it's going to give us a simulation. Now, we've got this red vector in the background we can't see as well. If I were to turn it off, you can see what's been created right there. So as you can see, this is, it's not hard to go right from the image into a stone design. Now we can make some adjustments to this if we'd like. If we want to make the rhinestones farther apart, we can do it like so. We can also make them closer together. We can move them in and outside from the edges as well. So let me turn the vector back on and go here, because if you noticed, we put a border on it as well. So I'm going to turn off my simulation. I'm going to turn off my stones. Now all we see is this vector again. And what I'm going to do is create what's called a contour with an offset. And I believe when I did it, about 0.15 was just about right. Yeah, there we go. And that creates just an offset, just an outline of it that's an automatic outline. And we can go in here and, again, we can go in here, as I mentioned before, and we can grab these individual pieces and move them around and adjust them. You can get really intricate on this stuff. But with rhinestones, I always say, if you keep it simple in the beginning, you're going to find that it's going to look awesome either way. And then when you really need to tweak it because it just doesn't look right, then get into it. But we're going to find that it looks awesome almost all the time, quite frankly. So now we're just going to do a path. So we're going to do a path of rhinestones around it. So we're going to check the path. And on the path, though, we're going to do size. Let's see if I saved that last time or not. If not, I'll show you what we did. All right, so I didn't save it last time, but I want to use size 20. So I'm just going to click on this, and I'm going to hit Replace Bead. Okay, now we can choose different sizes and shapes and all these things right in here to preset what our palette. So if we were going to do multiple things in this artwork over and over again, we can just go ahead and choose that stone again. So I'm just going to pick a clear crystal 20, and that's going to be on my palette now. So I hit Replace, and now I've got that on the side. And if we look in close, you can see where we've got the much larger stone on the outside. Did I pick clear crystal? I thought I did. Let me see here. Maybe I didn't. Clear crystal 20. Okay, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. And let's take a look. Turn on our Hotfix so we can see them. I think I undid it before, so let's just do it again real quick. There we go. So now we've got exactly what we're looking to make, and this is a good preview of it. If it was going to go on a black shirt, we can actually see what it would look like on black by changing our background color, and we can turn off our vector. And this is essentially what we're going to create. We're going to create this leaf right here. However, we want to do more than this, right? We had talked about that we wanted to add some lettering too. So I'm going to change the background color, and we were going to put Fall Festival, Peak Valley Park 2015. I asked somebody before this, make up a name of a park real quick, and that's what they came up with. So it was a winner to me. So we'll put Fall Festival, and right now we're just doing lettering. It's 1.35 inches on the lettering. That's the size we chose. We can do bold, and we can do various things with it, and we can choose from any font in our computer. Now this lettering is not going to be in rhinestones, okay? We're going to do something else with this lettering. And I deleted it. Okay, there we go. And then we can also resize this lettering as well, so we can adjust it to whatever size we want it to be. And we can reposition it. This is what we're doing is we're basically getting a look of what our shirt is. Okay. Could you add more stones in the stem? Someone asked a question. Let me go back into our stone section. Let me turn my vectors back on because I turned it off before. Okay. So yeah, let me show you about that. Okay. Someone had asked about adding more stones in the stem. That's a really good question. So I wanted to address it now while we're in there. We could do whatever we want, first of all. So let's just say that, as simple as it sounds, we can. I can go to a manual. So if I choose a stone like this in a size 10, I can manually add, say if I wanted to add that size. I could also go into a size 6. And the colors don't matter too much, but for demonstration here, I want you to see what we're doing. We can also go into this single stone tool, and I can grab it, and I can actually change that stone size to match the other stones that are there, like this. So we could manually move things and add them as we want. We can also just try to do it within our automatic too. So say if I select this whole area, I can start moving this around to get them to auto fill in more spots. So as you can see, if I just adjusted my spacing a little bit, kind of auto-filled in a little bit. And then there's automatic ways to get rid of those overlaps and such too. But again, it's not a full, I'm not going to go too deep into the software, but I want to give you a taste of how it works. So we can adjust that. And really, as far as the spacing and all this goes, 13, 14, 15 is optimal for making a template. So that's about where we want to be. So we put on the Fall Festival. I'll add a little bit more in the lettering just to show you exactly what we're going to do. But we put Peak Valley Park 2015. We centered it, and we did the 1.35, same size, and we put that here. And there's all types of, you can turn on grids to make centering easier for you. But actually what I did with this one was I cut out a few pieces so I could save some vinyl. I didn't want to cut it in that big of a spot, because what we're going to do is we're going to do some glitter on the lettering, and then we're going to do the actual rhinestones. So this is what we've created essentially. Let me get that. Let's drive me nuts there. Okay, that looks better. So this is what we've created, and now we can send this over to our cutting plotter. All right, that's what we do next. So before I do that, I'll go to the questions area, see if there's anything good. Okay, what's the smallest spacing is what somebody asked. All right, so I did mention it, I wouldn't go less than 13 really for a lot of stones. I find that 15 is really comfortable for me in the spacing, and it doesn't overlap the stones very much. 14, you might get a little bit. 13, you might get a few stones that overlap in the template, but usually that'll still work fine. Anything less than that, and you get a really crowded, you also risk damaging your template over time. You want to reuse this template a whole bunch of times. So that's why 15 is an optimal number, and if you need to move things manually and have a few of them bump up closer together for, say, to make the top of an A look good or make a corner look particularly nicer, then manually move those around, because as I could show you, you can manually place or move stones. So at this point in time, if we were going to be cutting this, we could either send the vector file to the cutter, and it's going to cut out the vector actually parts of the image. We can select a piece of it, which what I did when I cut it out, because I cut this out ahead of time, and I'm going to show you. we can cut out just a particular selection of it. And when we go to send it to the cutter, we can also send it to the cutter in a way that it automatically reverses and flips and does it horizontally, so we can cut it within the space that we want to cut in. So now that we've created it, this again, just a mini software demo, let's move over to actually making some stuff so we can spend about the next 20 minutes actually making some things so we can show you in real life how it works. So what I'm doing now is I'm doing a quick little camera movement. We're going to turn the camera back on, and I'm going to show you what we cut out, what we made, and then we're actually going to make some templates. So all right, if there's any other questions about the software, feel free to ask them now, but otherwise I'm going to move on to the next step so we could take a look. So the screen is off and the camera is back on. All right, and I'm just going to make a small adjustment here, so bear with me. I'm going to get a little bit closer so we can see really well. Okay, great. So as I said, ahead of time, I cut out the vinyl pieces so we can add this onto the shirt. So we've got these two, and I've put those aside. You can do this with the brush and bake system, by the way. You can, if all you need is the vinyl material, you don't need anything else besides a couple little tools here and there to help you do a little better. But that's about all you need to be able to do that. Here's the shirt that we're going to put it on, so I'm going to put this aside for now. Here's another shirt that we made earlier, and we'll talk about this at the end as well. But what we did was we cut out these templates. So I'll give you a nice view. Here's the leaf, okay, as you saw on the screen there. And what the cutter does is it cuts these individual pieces out. Then we take this template, we put it on a piece of glass or a piece of acrylic, really smooth surface, rub it in, and then peel it off, and your dots will be left behind, and your template will stay up. And if there's any few stragglers hanging in there, you can poke them out with tweezers, or you can just continue to press them onto the glass. And there's other videos and demos where we've done that a whole bunch too. So let's get started in actually making this. So I'm going to move my keyboard out of the way. Hopefully everybody can see. Remember, if you can't see what's going on, I'd like you to click away from the screen and click back on. Feel free to ask questions, and then I will pause every once in a while to answer them. So what we do is we've got some 20 stones. We're going to start with the bigger rhinestone to do our border. We want to fill in these big holes first because they won't fall into the small holes. They'll only fall into the big holes. So we're going to put a good amount of stones on there. Got plenty of room to work with, plenty of them to work with. And we just take our brush and literally just brush them in. Now, if anyone's done this stuff by hand before, which a lot of folks have, they've been making templates by hand or putting them on shirts by hand. This, just putting that little layer right there on is going to take you a half hour, or longer just to make one, which is still can be profitable, with the cost and the price and the ability to sell these types of garments. But we're trying to get it to you to make it in a nice, simple way. So now I'll brush it through. As you can see, they roll over on the material if they're not the right size and not in the right spot. And it looks like we got almost all of them, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do at the end to the ones that didn't land in. Let's see if I can get that one like this. Okay, great. So I got them all but a couple, and usually at this point in time, because it's no point in trying to brush them all in just for the principle of saying that I brushed them all in, I'm going to go and I'll grab my tweezers, and I'll just grab the couple that didn't quite make it for whatever reason. So I'll just take my rhinestone tweezers. That one didn't quite land in the spot that I wanted to. This one was missing, and looks like just a few. So I'll just do a few of them by hand. The 20 size can be a little bit harder actually to get into the spots because they're so big. When they roll, they can create a good amount of friction on the other stones and actually kind of do a thing where they push the other one out. but still not hard to do at all. So I'm going to just brush this out of the way. Looks like I knocked a few off. And I'll get these just on the table. Here we go. There are some raised ledges up on the top here, so you can get as close as you can on there. All right, so now we've created the outside of our template. Doesn't look like I missed any. And now we'll do the inside. So for the inside, I'm going to use some orange. And these are orange size 10. These are the rhinestones that we sell at Coal Mine Company, the crystalline stone. So again, I'm just going to get a good liberal amount in there. I really just say, just put a ton on there. You almost can't put too many because the more you have, the easier it is to go into place. I might have even put a little bit more in that when I was doing the 16s. You know, in hindsight, I could have put a little bit more and it would have worked out better for me. There we go. I noticed one was not where I wanted it to be. So now we're going to brush these in. When we get to the edge, you know, we want to put some pressure down so we have so we're pushing them into their place, but not so much that we're going to knock out our bigger stones. Because as I said, the bigger stones, you know, they do have a larger surface area. They are going to have a little bit more friction, and you can knock those out if you're pushing really hard. And it looks like we're about done with our template here. And again, if I notice one or two are missing, I'm not going to try to go and disrupt everything by going all the way back. You know, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to leave that one and I'll grab it with a pair of tweezers. And you may or may not knock one out like I did here. You see, that's fine. It's really, when you start breaking down how quick you can actually put these together, it's not that big of a deal when you have to move 4 or 5 or 6 stones to get it right where you want it. Okay, so I've gotten everything out. Looks like I knocked out a couple stones. No big deal. I'm just going to fix that really quick. So I'll move these. First, I'll just replace the ones that are missing. But you're going to get 99% of them in the first time, just about every time, especially after you do this a few times. Then I think I just knocked out 3. Knocked out 3 of them. Not too bad. Again, the bigger stones, you know, I mean, they're gonna be most likely to get knocked out. The little ones, it's harder to knock out, but the big ones, you'll move them. But don't worry about it. All right, so the last thing I do is I'll just do a quick brush over, make sure I didn't miss anything. Looks like I have a couple stragglers here. All right, and then I'll put in these last 2 over here I didn't get. And that's it. That looks about right. The more you do these, by the way, the faster you get and the better eye you get for it. I always say that what happens at first is I'm going to make this design right here, right? And the first time that I'm going to make it, I'm going to have like 6 or 7 stones that I didn't quite see that I missed. Either I didn't quite see that I missed them, or I didn't see that it was out of place, like that one was, like I got this here. A couple of these stones are just hanging out, but they don't belong here. You're not going to see that at first. Once you've got like 4 or 5 or 6 of these in, all of a sudden you just immediately start to see it. It's just one of those things where it's like the practice makes perfect mantra. So now we're going to go ahead and transfer it onto some paper. So this is just transfer paper. All of this that we're looking at here comes with the brush and bake kit. So we're going to take some of this paper. Let me get a little closer so I can get a good grip on it. And now we're going to kind of roll it on. All right, so I'll start at the top. Oh, I made the classic blunder there. I'm talking and not paying attention, and I knocked my stones off. Live TV. Okay. Now let me pay attention. I'm going to talk ahead of time, then I'm just going to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to roll the paper onto it on a nice, just singular movement. And as I do this, the stones are all going to stick right where they belong, and everything stays in place. Don't let people distract you during this part. That's the most annoying part if you get distracted, or distract yourself like I'm pretty good at doing. And once you rub them in, that's it. Grab your corner. And as if you notice one didn't stick up like that, you go back and just give it a little press. And there we go. Now I'll take the back of the transfer paper, and I'll put it on here. And this is ready to go on a shirt now. So let's do it. Let's put it on a shirt. So I'm going to move over to our heat press. And I'm going to move you there too. So just hang tight. Okay. So the way that we prepare this is first we actually put it, this is a swing away press. This is what comes with the standard brush and bake kit. You can also a la carte if you'd prefer to get something bigger. You know, some folks are going to do much larger designs, but the heat press that we're doing here, this is a 14-inch press right here that I'm working with. So we sell a 12-inch press, a 14-inch press, 16, 20, and it goes up. Generally, 12 or 14 fits most rhinestone designs that you're going to do. But if you need more, or for any reason you think you're going to expand to doing larger things, then we can set you up with that. So the first thing we do is just a pre-press. Just a few seconds to get the shirt nice and pressed smooth, clean, so we have a good clean surface to work with. Then I've got my rhinestone design that I'm going to be putting on it. And we've got our glitter vinyl that we're gonna do as well. Okay. But first I'm gonna do the rhinestones, then we'll do the vinyl after. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put this right where I know this is gonna go. Okay. And then I'll put my rhinestone transfer where I'd like that to go. Now it's just right. Now, since I'm going to be cooking these basically at different temperatures is why I'm going to do these particularly at different times. I'm going to put a little more time and pressure on this. I also need to let this cool down before I peel it off compared to this is going to be a little bit faster and it's going to peel right away. So I don't want my paper to stick together and cause any mess ups in my design, especially in the rhinestone part, because that took a few minutes to make and it costs some money. I mean, you don't want to waste the rhinestones. So I'm going to click this down, and then I see I have some questions, so I'll jump on those questions. Is my heat press a mouse pad? It is. All right. What margin do you use? Somebody had asked. A little bit more of a technical question on the software, but I'll do a zero margin plenty if I need it to be the margin, meaning how far close to the edge of my vector image, that leaf. How far do I want it over the edge or on the edge? So it doesn't really matter too much. It really just depends on the design. It honestly does. On some designs, I want this to be much closer to the edge of my artwork. On other times, I'm going to tuck it in. It really just depends. One thing we can do is give it a little rub in like that. What that's going to help is there's glue basically that's been liquefied underneath here. Okay, and since that glue is liquefied, we want to make sure that it goes into the shirt nicely. So giving it that little rub will help to make sure that the glue is nice and spread evenly. And then another thing we can do is put our hand inside here. If you're doing it, properly, what I would do is I would take a piece of like parchment like this, or this is silicone release paper, and put it into the shirt, especially if I was doing a larger run of them where I wanted to let it sit aside, where I'm going to pull this off and put it to the side and come back. But since I'm working with it and I knew I was able to unstick it, some of that glue can get through and stick to the back of your shirt. You don't, especially on a nice thin shirt, a really lightweight cotton shirt, if you do that, you're going to end up gluing the front and the back of the shirt together. So there's a few things to learn, but none of it's that hard to do. So now we're ready to peel off. The good thing about rhinestones and vinyl too is if for any reason it doesn't stick the first time, if you lose a stone or anything like that, which we didn't, but you can always repress. So we got that on just right. Now let's put on our Fall Festival. We're going to go here. And then we're going to put the bottom half on. So this vinyl just goes on for about 10 seconds. That's it. Now this press, this one is a little bit longer of a design. So this might be a case where having, the larger heat press might help you. But again, it's just a matter of the space you have to work with, the budget you have to work with, all that. But all of it will work. All right. We've got that one. I'm caught up. There we go. And that's it. This shirt is just about done. And then afterwards, we're going to make something else. 5. Now this vinyl material we use is FDC, so it's a hot peel. You peel it right away. As you can see, I mean, it almost wisps off. It comes off really easily compared to the rhinestone paper was a little stickier. So this material comes off really easily. It's a really nice material, and you can add some of that on to your brush and bake system. So it looks awesome. And this is, I mean, this shirt you're talking with both the mixed media on this, doing both the glitter vinyl and the rhinestones. And we were talking like this shirt, legitimately a custom shirt like this, $25, $30, all day. So we're good here. Let's go ahead and do a quick sticker. I'll show you how to do that. All right, I'm back. Now we can work with multiple size stones and such on our table. Just keep things separated and you don't have to worry about it. But it's also easy cleanup. Might as well show you that. The way I like to clean it up, let me move this so you can see. There we go. The way I like to clean it up is get it over to kind of to your corner area, take some of the transfer paper and just brush it right on. And then once we've got this, we'll take our bag of rhinestones, assuming you have them handy, and put them right in the bag. There we go. Do them all over your table right now. There we go. And then this way, if you miss a few, you can get them right in. And if you lose a few, it's no big deal because you figure each rhinestone is a fraction of a penny. So it's not a big deal. All right, so we clean that up. I'm still going to use this other size crystal, so I'm going to leave those around. But for now, we're going to start with those. So since they're already here, I'll just brush some right over into our Christmas tree. Our Christmas tree really only has, I think, 6 or 8, total. So I could have just done these by hand, but for the sake of demonstration, I want you to see how even if you just have a few right in your design, they just drop right in. So those are in place right now, and then we'll make our tree. The more the merrier. You're going to save them when you're done. right, I think I feel pretty good about this. I missed a few, no big deal though. Now, a little sticker like this, if you were to buy a sticker like this, a rhinestone decal like this, especially if it's custom made, with somebody's logo or a specific tree design they wanted, or a family name underneath it or something like that, I mean, you're talking at least 10 bucks. It's 10 bucks. If it's really customized, like a family name or a year or something like that, then, it could cost just as much as a t-shirt to make a sticker like this. And we're going to use this hard surface material when we're done. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got some transfer paper underneath here. And we're going to do the same thing like we did before. And I do see some questions, by the way. I'll jump on those in just a minute. So here's our paper. And again, start at the top and we'll just roll it down. There we go. Push it with your hand a little bit. Some people even, do something like that. And put this right here. And this is now ready to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to transfer this over to our sticker material, and then I'll find something to stick it on. We've got lots of things we can stick it on. The first thing that I do, though, is I'm actually going to want to clean this up ahead of time. All right, so I'm just going to take these scissors here. You can use, for creating the stickers like this, it's going to be up to you if you use an X-Acto knife or scissors. I just use the scissors. I find I can do it particularly fast. Forgive me if you can't see. I'm going to try to do my best here to give you a good demo. Now, most folks make t-shirts with this material. I just really like how the stickers and the decals come out. I think that they look good. I don't think enough people offer them. I want to give you a competitive advantage by coming out and offering something that probably most of your competitors aren't offering. One reason is, there's a little bit of work to this, as you can see. It's not particularly hard. This is only going to take me a minute or two to really do the whole thing, including the brushing and everything. But still, it feels more manual, and some people want to avoid that, but it's easy. It's very easy. So now I've got that, and I've got my hard surface material. We do demos on this completely, so I'm not going too deep into the instruction side of why I'm choosing to do it the way that I am. But I'm going to stick this onto here instead of the t-shirt. And I've got some paper. Now, since I'm working with this material and not a t-shirt, I'm going to use some paper on here. And I'm actually going to give this 2 presses. And I'll move you just a bit. Mark Stevenson is here. Everybody got to hear everything about you.
Did they really?
Yeah, yeah. There was pitchforks and torches.
Oh,
your mic was on while you were helping support somebody.
I bet they didn't mention how good looking I am. In person.
No.
It's a big difference when you see me online.
All right, I'm going to look at the questions while that's pressing for just a few seconds.
This shirt looks great.
Oh, okay. Okay, yes. So somebody had asked about, you like the shirt that we made?
Love that, man.
Okay, yeah. Me and these folks all made this together.
Yeah, nice.
Okay. So there's a few questions in a row, and some I'm going to go back to the end and answer because it doesn't have to do with what we're doing now. But to start with what I'm doing right now, why did we do a pre-clean on the Christmas tree? Okay, I'll tell you why. So this material right here is the transfer material, and this material adheres really well to everything when it gets hot. Okay, it adheres particularly well to everything, including the transfer paper. if you clean up the transfer paper a little bit ahead of time, then you can deliver your sticker to your customer with the transfer paper still on top, and that will help protect the stones during transport and moving it around or anything like that. It gives an extra layer of protection. You could just put the whole thing on and then at the end cut it and rip it off that way. But I find this way it gives you an easier thing to work with in the end. And it only takes a couple seconds to do. Now, the second thing I'm going to do, since I'm working with two different size stones, I'm going to heat this up a little bit more on the back side. All right, that is trouble with working with two different size stones is not always even pressure. Okay. Let's see. And then someone asked about the cost of shirts, and I'm going to jump on that question in just a minute. All right, so that should be done there. Now that's given us nice even temperature and pressure on both sides of it, so we know that we're good. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut that sticker out, and I'll just do it while it's warm. Now, the reason I'm going to cut it out this time is because this is actually the material that your customer is going to stick on, whatever they're doing is a car window. Glass works really well. I mean, this is ideal for glass. But you could do it on glass, you could do it on plastic, acrylic, any hard surface. So we talk about that specifically, that it's called hard surface material. This isn't designed to put on a chair cushion or something like that that's going to be moving a lot. This is designed to be set one time and not move. And I've got a piece of glass down there that we'll stick it on. So I'm going to clean this up again because I want this to look nice and neat, because this is actually what I'm going to deliver to the customer. And the hard surface material is relatively clear. So you want to leave a little bit on the edge. Okay. Because you're not going to see it. Now I'll clean up this edge and we'll be done. If folks want to know how to do this more in detail, just get with us, give us a call, or shoot us an email and say, hey, can you tell me specifically how you did those stickers? I really want to see how you did it, all the steps. And we've got webinars and videos just for doing this. So here's a sticker that we've stuck on before. Let's see if I can't get a little bit closer for you. And here's this one. And the test, if you did this right, this is another reason why you peel it ahead of time, because I want to leave this on the top for my customer. But you can also, in the beginning, as you're learning, you can test it. So you can say, okay, did all of my rhinestones stick on correctly the way that they should have? And this will help you determine the temperature and pressure on your heat press and all that stuff. So all that worked well. And we'll get on the top here. And I'm just doing a pre-check here. And all that worked well. So the way that I would apply this, or if I was going to deliver this to a customer, is you just have them peel the back off. Might as well show you the finished product. We're so close to it. Just like a sticker. We'll put this on our glass, our car windshield. Not the windshield, probably the rear. Don't put this on your windshield. And that rubs in. And then you take this off. And this is the nice finished product you want your customers to be able to do, is to peel that top layer off. And we've got a rhinestone sticker that I'm gonna bleed on my knuckles before these pop off. So these last really well. They hold on really firmly. And as you can see, the edges, I mean, you could hardly see the edge here completely. So we've got a little bit of a demonstration on making some stickers. We made a pretty cool shirt. I'll bring it back for you. And there's some things you could do with the brush and bake system. So here's our shirt, here's our sticker. And let me turn the video off and switch to the computer screen again, just so I can show you where some of these things are and where we found them online. And somebody had also asked me the cost of a shirt and the cost of the stones and all of that stuff. So my computer screen is coming on now, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. So the t-shirt that we had before, that black t-shirt, it was just that was a Tooltex brand shirt. The Tooltex brand shirt is by TSC Apparel. It was probably $2 or less. The actual amount of rhinestones that we put on the shirt, I'm going to say is probably about that same dollar amount. If we just start going to the rhinestones, I'll show you real quick. The Hotfix rhinestones. Go right here. And let's see, actually we used size 10, so let me go to the right size. Size 10, if we look at any of these colors, so light emerald, for example, is $32.95. And if I bring up my calculator, divided by 1,700 stones, 7,200, is 0.0045 cents per stone. Okay, and this design had, and this one that I made here, which is not the one that we actually did, because I just realized it's the wrong size. There we go. That was the size we used. Size 10 and size 20 were the two we used. So this had 690 stones. So it was a pretty big design. It was a nice size design. So times 690. And I'm just doing a rough estimate. That is not right. Okay. Divided by 7,200 times 690. So $3.15, so about $3 in stones on this particular design. And we had 10s and 20s in there, but the crystals also were going to be significantly cheaper. So it's going to be about that. So about $3.15 in stones. The vinyl we used, that was particularly inexpensive. We probably used maybe 50 cents or so in vinyl. So let's just say $3.15 and the vinyl. Let's just round that up to $4, and let's just say the shirt was about $2. So we spent about $6 on this, when the retail would be between $20 and $30, depending on who you're selling it to. And a mixed match like that definitely is on the mixed media like that is definitely on the higher end. Can the nail heads be used? And can the nail heads are going to be the hardest to work with? So the answer is yes, but they're not my preference because they're so smooth on the back. As you're brushing them, there's not a lot of friction, and they don't all roll it over as easily. So absolutely you can. It just depends on the design. I wouldn't want to do, say, a 3-color design in nail heads. I feel that it would just be, it would be a good amount of work, more than I'd prefer to do, definitely. Now, the studs, which we have like here, so Rhine studs, you shouldn't have an issue at all with these. Because they've got the facets, and the facets really help things kind of roll and push and roll around on each other, which is why the brush and bake system works so easily. Someone asked, how do you get trained on the software? Well, a couple things. For one is we've got a starter kit when you buy it that there will be some videos to help you get up and running and started, and how to do some basics, and we have new videos going up all the time. And then we actually have just software videos that we've got as well. And then if there's any particular issues, then we do one-on-one help, all the time, where someone says, I'm trying to figure out how to do X or Y or Z, then we'll get on the phone with you and help to walk you through that as well. Okay, so someone said they have to run for another meeting. Thanks for coming. Let me go ahead and just show you one last thing here, which is the actual brush and bake systems themselves. So here's your brush and bake systems. If you click on the home page, you get here, $25.49. That's the complete kit, just like you saw here. That actually comes with a few more things than you saw here. If you already have a heat press, we've got a no heat press kit. That's the starter kit here on the left. And then if you already have a cutter and a heat press and you just need to get into stones with the software and everything, you've got that right here on the right-hand side. We do have specials and deals on all this right now for folks that have come to our webinar. So say, hey, give a call to Coleman and Company on the top, speak with one of the reps, and just say, hey, on the 10th or earlier today or yesterday or just now, I was just on a webinar with Mark, and I'm interested in the brush and bake. He said you have a special deal for webinar attendees, and we've got some giveaways and specials on that. So thanks everybody for attending. We went a few minutes over, but we did get to show you a few different things in addition to the software today. Plus Mark Stevenson gave us his presence for a few minutes with some background noise. So thanks everybody again. Again, my name is Mark, and I'm with Coleman and Company, and I'm going to put a link right here in the chat before we go. And here's the chat. You'll see a link pop up in the chat section that'll message out to everybody. That's directly to the brush and bake system. And another link, this is to the Facebook page. So, and then the last one, might as well, since I'm pasting and sharing links, here's to our podcast. And here's to more webinars. So, there's a bunch of links for you. Check them out. Please click on them now and save them and bookmark them. Now's also another time to ask more questions if you have any more. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you too, Gene. Thanks for coming. We thank everybody for coming by and spending a little bit of time with us today. Hopefully you learned a lot about how the system works, how the software works, and what you can do with it. And we appreciate it. So we're happy to answer any questions you have. As I said, just go to thecolemanandcompany.com. That's 800-891-1094. That's our phone number. Give us a call, and we've got people here to answer the phone and tell you all about the brush and bake and how to help get your business started. So thanks again, and have a great afternoon.